Yeah.
So I says to Mabel, I says,
Well, don't leave us in suspense. What do you tell Mabel?
That's the
that's the
joke.
entirety of the joke, yes.
Oh. Oh, okay.
If anybody knows what Mabel stands for, drop it into chat.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name's ELH. This is Star Trek Adventures Kongo. We're on Season 3, Session 7, so that's exciting. Yeah, that Mabel joke's totally killed my train of thought. Good job. Right. So, normally I would do announcements, but I don't have any. But I do have a content warning for tonight's episode, though, before we do introductions. If you are currently sort of grieving or suffering because of a loss of a loved one or death in general, you may wish to wait to watch this episode until you're in a better spot. So this is, again, a content warning that there is death and loss that is heavily featured in this episode. But on the bright side, I think it will be full of character growth, and we'll have another one of those good Trek sessions, as it were, or so is my intent. But anyways, let's go around and have everyone introduce themselves, and we can get started, starting with Mr. Lovecraft.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew. I play Captain Lee Tobin, who is probably going to be uniquely suited to addressing the content of this episode. He is an intensely religious Bajoran who, a number of years ago, before he tried to move on with his life, lost his son. So he has a personal stake in some of the events that will be transpiring.
Hey guys, I am Aaron. I am playing Commander Datig, the belligerent Tellarite XO, who deals with heavy topics the typical manner of Tellarites. So that is to say, don't. Which, may or may not be healthy. We'll find out.
I'm Watney, and I play the Chief Medical Officer of the Kongo, Dr. Alel the Denobulan.
And I'm Dag. I play Fives, Congo's resident Borg and Augment. And that's all I have to say about that. But if you want to talk about it, you can hit me up at Trek Nexus on Twitter.
There we go. Now, one quick thing that does remind me. So we have noticed recently that Dag does come across a little bit quiet to viewers. So if it does get super bad and you can't really hear or understand Dag anymore, do let us know and we'll try to do our best to fix that during promotion.
And not or just if he's on mute.
Yeah, I was going to say, except if he's on mute. In that case, he's on his own. But anyway, I believe, Dr. Alel, it is time for you to handle the opening logs. So take it away.
All right. Chief Medical Officer's log, stardate 95218.6. The sentient photon torpedo known as Dorothy has become a hot topic amongst the crew, to nobody's surprise. However, the only people on board that have managed to hold a conversation with Dorothy have been myself, Commander Rash, and Chief Fives. Although simplistic, Dorothy is becoming more complex and intelligent with each passing day. They're now displaying a level of awareness roughly equivalent to that of a 12-year-old human child. That is to say, it's developing morals and character qualities of its own that will certainly become a hot topic of debate once Commander Rash gets around to writing a paper on the subject. The Kongo is scheduled to drop Dorothy off at Deep Space October the next time we're in that general area, which unfortunately won't be for some time. We were deployed on a priority mission to investigate the last known location of Ambassador Saluma. The coordinates brought us to a protostar generating chronoton waves, something Commander Datig has assured me should not be possible. It would seem there's more than meets the eye to this area of space, and whatever it is, no doubt played a part in the disappearance of the ambassador. Thankfully, the specialized hull plating of the Kongo A has been able to shield the ship and its crew from any adverse time anomalies or distortions. It seems we're well equipped to do our job. I only hope that it's enough to find the ambassador. End log.
Very nice. You may have a momentum for that opening log. So today, we're going to start on the bridge as you all are approaching well, I guess you wouldn't call it a system yet because there isn't one. It's just sort of a condensing nebula, also known as a protostar. But you sort of all just see the protostar getting closer and closer on the view screen. And it's actually kind of beautiful. It's a swirl of reds and greens and purples and blues, almost prismatic in a way. You're seeing almost every color imaginable sort of coalescing and combining into this ball of matter and energy at the center of this nebula. And there are two matter jets, jet streams, that are coming from the poles of what will be a sun at some point. But as you all do sort of look at this on the view screen and sort of take it in, you hear what is becoming I wouldn't say comforting, but a sound you're getting used to, and that is of Commander Rash dead asleep in her chair on the bridge. And it's I don't know, I would qualify it as sort of a light snore. Not a very, loud one, but you hear it all the same.
So Alel's hearing it from across the room.
Oh yeah.
She just turns in her chair and looks.
Well,
Don't
you
have
don't
any
have to
residual
use-
delta waves on the ship, do we, Doctor?
Not to my knowledge. I'm not feeling sleepy in the slightest. Then again, I did just wake up from my hibernation, so.
Well, I mean, consider yourself lucky. You don't have to stand next to her.
I want to probably wake her up. Fives.
Fives will send a text alert to Commander Rash's station.
Okay. Because I find it funny. Control security, difficulty of 0.
Yes.
Also to give you momentum, because you could use it.
Yes.
Just don't roll 20s. That's all you have to do. Just don't roll 20s. That's it. That's one job.
Double 20s. Here it comes.
Does persuasion work?
No, you can't persuade. No.
Oh, I can persuade her to wake up.
You could say, please wake up.
No.
Do it or else.
Okay, you know what it's
That's intimidation.
Don't be threatening, yes.
We can lowball this.
All right,
One
there you go. You got
success.
your momentum, so you're up to 3.
Great.
So you send the alert to Commander Rash's station, and as soon as it starts chiming, she goes, more power to the shields! And, she kind of flutters and, sputters through it and goes, hi, everybody. How you doing?
How are you doing?
Doing just fine. Everything's okay, sir. How are you?
I'm just fantastic.
Oh, I'm sorry?
Well, that was...
Commander, it's quite all right. We have discussed your case. As long as you're prepared to do your duty when called upon, as evidently you are, I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem. Right, Commander? And he'll look over towards Datig.
Yeah, right. Of course, no problem at all, as long as the nacelles don't fly off or the warp core doesn't breach and any other bad things that can be prevented by an engineer.
Well, warp cores do kind of like breaching. It is kind of their thing, but, hey, you know that ship that we were looking for? The IRW Zitak, the ambassador's ship?
Yes.
Well, maybe I should just show you rather than explain it. Or you know what, maybe both is a good thing to do. So, on the view screen, you will see the following. And again, the Protostar on the screen is not quite the same colors as I described, but it's hopefully close enough all the same. What you're seeing is that there is a Romulan Republic science vessel, and if you've never seen one of those, it is essentially you take a Vulcan science ship, you add a little bit more padding to the circular part and a few nacelles, and paint it green, and you have a Romulan science ship.
Just sidebar, is that the Romulan Republic science warbird design?
It's not the science warbird. I believe it's one of the equivalents to the what the old Kongo was in Star Trek Online.
Got it.
But yeah,
I recognize it now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very familiar if you've played Star Trek Online. But what matters is that the IRW Katak is projecting a white beam to the heart of the Protostar, and I would say probably Datig on this one. Do you have anything related to temporal mechanics? Anything related to, I guess, weaponry? This might even be something Fives could do as the tactical officer.
I have a focus in astrophysics, but that may not apply.
Actually, I think it would in this point. Yeah.
Okay.
So
then
I'm going to give this to you free.
Ooh, I love free stuff.
And I'm going to. You should now have a handout. Now, just be aware you don't know the person behind it, but you kind of do out of character, but in character,
Right.
just, flavor it appropriately. But, as you're reading, Rashford looks and goes, I think is that a chronoton beam, Commander?
And just as an aside, Doubting will double check the sensors and say, "Yes, I believe so. It's Captain. This ship is bleeding Hawking radiation from its warp core, turning them into chronotons. They're bombarding the Protostar then with said chronotons in an attempt to open a temporal vortex. Time travel."
Is there any indication as to the, I suppose, destination point of this temporal vortex?
GM?
I would say no. You have no idea the time, whether it's past, future. You just don't know at this point.
Until the vortex forms, I don't have any idea, but what I can tell you is we have about 3 hours to stop this before the chronoton saturation reaches critical mass and that vortex opens.
Fives, open a hailing frequency to the, what was it, GM? The Zatok?
The Zatok, Z-I-T-O-K.
Okay. The Zatok.
Sorry, X-Z-I-T-O-K. Either way, we'll know what you mean. But yeah, when you open up communications, you actually get a reply very quickly. And we'll just go back to the bridge for this little bit. So, appearing on the screen is a Romulan woman, probably in her late 50s. She has sort of that mature look to her face. The lines are not really sagging, but they're just more defined. She has those sharp eyebrows, the sort of dark eyes, the, pointed ears, and the stereotypical Romulan/Vulcan sort of bowl cut. But what's most important is the fact that she is wearing ambassador white robes. And as she comes on the view screen, she says, "Hello, my name is Ambassador Soluma. What can I help you with?"
My name is Captain Lee Tobin of the Federation starship Kongo. We've been tasked with investigating this Protostar, and we were curious about your presence here. We weren't aware that the Romulan Republic was, I suppose, interested in some form of scientific research regarding chronotons.
It is a personal matter. It is one that I have taken great lengths to find the equipment and crew for. I would simply ask that if you are not here to assist in this endeavor, that you please leave the area, as it might affect the experiment. Now, Lee, why don't you go ahead and roll me an Insight and Command, or an Insight and Con, difficulty of 2. And if you have anything related to people reading, or anything related to empathy, that would apply here.
Okay. So it could be Command?
It could be Command, yes.
Okay, because my con is terrible. But I'll spend 1 momentum as well to roll 3 dice.
Okay.
And I have Inspiration and Diplomacy. Neither of those would really apply.
Yeah, not in this instance, unfortunately. Hey, 3 successes. You get that momentum right back. It's probably obvious that she's hiding something, but there's almost a hesitation here. Like, you catch, a child that has done something wrong and they're trying to avoid it. That's sort of the same vibe you're getting here.
And as I understand it, out of character, this space is completely unclaimed by the Republic. Okay. Then Lee would straighten his uniform and rise from his chair. Ambassador, as we're utterly unfamiliar with the experiment that you are undertaking, obviously, well, we would be quite curious in learning more. Would you be willing to provide us with more information? Quite frankly, it looks rather fascinating.
Unfortunately, the delicate nature of the experiment will not permit me to send a large packet of data. In fact, communications like this are the absolute maximum I can allow. Also, unfortunately, your presence in the system will destabilize the experiment, so once again, I must ask you to leave the system immediately.
Would you give me a moment?
Of course.
Thank you, Ambassador. Vibes? Thoughts? This appears to be some sort of attempted violation of the Temporal Prime Directive. or at least the temporal accords that haven't yet been ratified, but
Well, she's definitely evasive deliberately.
unless we don't have jurisdiction over Romulan affairs. Doctor?
I wouldn't know the first thing about this experiment and what she's trying to do. I certainly don't think we have jurisdiction here, like you said. I'm sure she's alone on the ship, right? We haven't detected any other life signs.
And Abydus at his station reports, I can confirm that there are 20 individuals aboard the IRW Zitok.
Okay.
Commander Dotig, she's claimed that our presence in the system may destabilize the experiment they're conducting. Can you get a reading on the portal and any possible effects that our warp drive shielding, any emissions from our ship has had?
Yeah, GM, would I know anything about that offhandedly, or would you like me to roll for that?
No, I think you would be able to tell very quickly. She's lying. You being here is not changing a damn thing.
That's what I thought. Captain, our presence here is immaterial to her experiment.
Given that our shielding would probably prevent any kind of radiation emissions that would disrupt a chronoton beam, that seemed likely.
You could tell her that we will have to, of course, note this to the Federation, that these experiments are occurring, and see her reaction, and perhaps
And
call her
Rash,
bluff.
I think Rash kind of yawns wide at that and goes, oh, sorry. Wasn't part of our mission to figure out why she went missing? I mean, she's been MIA for what, almost a week and a half at this point?
A good place to start would be to ask why she hasn't reported back to the Republic.
She could be under duress.
She certainly has some personal reasons for this experiment. It's clear that the nature of what she's doing and messing with chronotons and such is not motivated, perhaps entirely, by scientific reasons.
I didn't get the sense that her concern was the product of some kind of compulsion. Bives, reopen the channel.
Channel open.
Ambassador, based on our sensor scans, at least what we've been able to determine of the Protostar, our presence in the system has not actually affected any disruption of your experiment. Would it be possible for you to clarify on the danger that we pose to your investigation?
Why don't you roll me a presence and command, difficulty of 4, and you would have diplomacy as a focus.
I will use my augmented ability presence.
Okay, start you off with 1 free success.
And I'll give you the 3 momentum to roll 2 extra dice.
Alrighty. Survey says... Hey, let me check that
Nice.
0. Alright, so that is a
That's-
complication, but that is 5 successes, so you do get a momentum back. And don't worry, chat. There was a saved up complication from you all last time, so it's actually going to be a double complication here. So Saluma is going to begin to say something, and the transmission will kind of cut out for a moment. And when it comes back, Saluma is noticeably concerned. Like before, she was sort of stoic and otherwise, stereotypical haughty Romulan kind of a thing. Now she's looking a little bit worried. Now she's looking a little bit under I don't want to say duress, but she's definitely under a lot of stress. And you see that break of the mask for maybe about 10 seconds before it reforms. And she simply says, "Unless you have an ambassador aboard your ship, I must ask you once again on the authority as an ambassador to leave this system immediately."
Ambassador, while our mission to this sector was primarily scientific, we do, in fact, have an ambassadorial staff on board the Kongo. And to be blunt, as we were in the area, the Romulan Republic requested that we investigate your disappearance.
They know of my mission, but I am willing to speak with your ambassador. Have them contact me directly.
Very good. Kongo out.
Yeah, I was saying, then Saluma pretty much cuts it off right there.
Oh boy.
If they were aware of her mission.
If they wouldn't have asked us to try to find her, yes.
Or they low-key asked us to stop her.
As a great captain once said, it's always a chess game with the Romulans, but I'm inclined to believe them. In this, at least this instant.
It's a good alibi. They don't have to. They can claim that they didn't know anything about her time travel experiment, and the wonderful Federation ship discovered our ambassador. Yay!
Captain, a suggestion
Please, Commander.
to augment an earlier statement by Dr. Allel. Let's notify the Romulan Republic of her location.
Fives, how long would it take for a subspace communique to reach the Romulan Republic?
At this distance, about 14 hours.
If I may, Commander Datek, my suggestion was to report her to the Federation and let her know we were going to do that. Given what we just saw, maybe the Romulans will... Maybe it wouldn't be good for her if we reported her to the Republic. Maybe she's hiding for a reason.
Such as?
One can only guess why someone would fly out here and do what she's doing. It would be speculation.
Relations with the Romulan Republic have been relatively positive over the last few decades. They're a more open and democratic society than the Star Empire ever could have claimed to have been. I'm not certain that she has a political motivation here, or is some form of dissident, as we would have expected with the Empire. Go ahead, Commander.
So, regardless of what we do, we should notify the ambassador.
Precisely my thought.
Captain, do we have the diplomatic call for the ambassador? Do we know about her experiences with the Federation?
We might have some records in our database. Fives, if you would take the initiative. Do we know anything about her history, her interactions with us diplomatically?
Yeah, it may help the ambassador to de-escalate the situation.
Do your best to prepare a profile for the ambassador when he arrives. And Mr. Datig, given his temperamental nature, perhaps you might retrieve him in person.
As you wish, sir. And at that, GM Dotting will leave the bridge.
Okay. And I think we're actually going to follow Dotig at this point. So Fives, or Dag, tell me, where would the ambassador be at this point in time? You're muted.
As tradition. The ambassador would be in his quarters, listening to the latest and greatest from a local blues band playing on Sigma Iosha 2 at this time.
I'm not seeing what I did with the quarters map, so we'll just go to Theater of the Mind for the moment. But yeah, Dantig, you're outside the ambassador's quarters. Go right ahead.
Yeah, he'll chime the door. And
Oh, he had to put the hat on, of course.
and chime it again. Unbelievable.
You're muted, Dag.
Computer, lower volume.
Yep,
And
you
a
lower
third
it, and
and a third chime.
Computer, pause playback. Come in, come in.
The door will slide open. Dathik will step in. Ambassador,
Commander.
your presence is required on the bridge.
Huh. Captain can't get you out of this one this time.
Apparently not.
All right, well, lead the way.
Yeah, Dathik is like visibly annoyed. Maybe more so than usual at this hat wearing dude. And but we'll lead him to the turbo lift.
And as the ambassador steps out of his quarters, he makes sure the door shuts and then says, Computer, lock these quarters until I return. Authorization Tabo 575 Delta.
Peter chimes, and the door is sealed.
Can't be too careful on a ship like this. Too many things could go wrong. Too many
Well, they
people
could-
sneaking around.
This is a Federation starship. Nobody's going to steal from you.
Really? What if I
Yes.
told you I've conducted my research. I know what the theft statistics are for starships in the Federation.
Well, I'm sure you found something somewhere. And
Indeed.
as they step into the turbo lift, he'll just go, bridge.
Yeah, turbo lift gets going.
So what is it? A band of Zaldans getting mad about Romulan-Klingon relations, or some kind of feisty upstarts trying to revitalize the old Maquis?
No, missing Romulan ambassador. We found her and she won't speak to anyone but an ambassador. And, well, you're it, apparently.
Ah, but you said we found her.
Right, but it's better if the captain explains it.
Great. All right. Missing Romulan ambassador.
What about
She
then?
might,
Oh, go ahead.
to borrow a euphemism that you may be more familiar with, we suspect that she may be, on the sheep.
Oh. Why didn't you say so in the beginning? This is clearly terrible.
Right.
Can't put one past you.
Won't stop you from trying, I'm sure.
One of these days.
Remind me when your tour of duty is over here, we turn your pockets out before you leave the ship.
Are you insinuating that? Did the doors open to the?
Yeah, at this point, the bridge opens, and
And
Thank
Lee,
you, Commander. And Tabo will step out onto the bridge.
Lee will just silently gesture towards the chair opposite Datig's position, the first officer's chair. Ambassador, would you allow me to brief you for a moment?
Sure, Captain. I hear we've got a missing ambassador.
Well, not exactly missing. After all, she's sitting in a Romulan science warbird just about... Fives, how far away is it?
Half an AU.
Just about half an AU away, so... The question that we have is what she's doing here.
Well, what's that beam that's coming out of the ship?
Apparently she's attempted to open a temporal vortex. Purposes, location, and time frame unknown. However, Ambassador, while I would normally be convinced of my abilities to carry out any negotiations with the ambassador myself, I'm also well aware of your expertise, and she seems as if she would be more amenable to conversing with you. Someone who, I suppose, understands her a little bit better as a fellow diplomat.
Well, of course she would, Captain. We speak the same language. You, I don't remember his name, but the ex-Borg. Open hailing frequencies.
Do you not want to review the information that we've compiled regarding the ambassador?
Very good. And he'll put his hand out. Is there like a pad or something expecting?
And what I'm saying, perhaps out of character, is that while Datek was retrieving the ambassador, perhaps Five could have done some kind of biographical and historiographical investigation into the ambassador and used our databases to learn something about him.
Yeah.
Or her, rather.
So, again, free momentum roll for you. Fives, just roll me a control security difficulty of 0. So, free momentum.
Free momentum. Control. Security.
Survey says, let's see what you get. All right, 1 success. It's 1 momentum. So, I mean, as an ambassador, she's as distinguished as any others, but you're also seeing a lot of broken links, as it were. Like if you go to a Wikipedia page, instead of, all the linking pages being nice blue hyperlinks, they're all red, meaning that they lead to dead ends or pages that don't exist. And this is unusual even for a Romulan ambassador, is what I would say.
It looks like a lot of this information's been redacted. I probably would have been just as well to open the hailing frequencies when I asked the first time.
I'm surprised at the paucity of information that's available to us. Mr. Fives, is there any indication as to whether this was a result of Romulan action and that they haven't been forthcoming about the ambassador? Or is this something that's happened inside the Federation that's been potentially redacted by Starfleet intelligence? Is there anything that you could do to determine that? Some kind of recursive algorithm extraction or the like?
I can run a reversion into our data logs, sir, and see if there's any, Easter eggs I can pick up. ELH?
Yeah, it's going to take time to do it. I mean, it's not going to be an instantaneous thing. It's probably going to take 5-10 minutes.
Give me about 10 minutes, sir.
Very good.
It's got to be exhaustive.
I understand. Actually, no, I don't, because I have no idea about encoding or security measures. That's why I have you.
10 minutes? You've got an ambassador waiting out there, and you expect her to wait 10 minutes to talk to me while she's doing something with her chronoton beam?
Of course, Ambassador, if you wish to speak to her, you're entirely at liberty to do so.
And Tabo will look again at the records, trying to determine if there is any pertinent information on her history or not even a significant encounter with Federation diplomacy, any encounter with Federation diplomats, just on the stuff that Fives was able to gather before.
I would say, based on what you've been gathering so far, you would see that there are actually a few sort of frontier treaties where, a Federation colony on the border of Romulan space, trade deals, defensive systems, things of that nature. But again, the juicy stuff isn't there. It just is not present whatsoever.
Well, we'll have to go on it. Captain, if we can open those Halen frequencies now, that'd be great.
Very good. As you handle the diplomatic aspects of this mission, doctors, I'd like to begin examining that chronoton beam. Anything more we can learn about the actual methodology that they're employing, vessel, the interaction with the Protostar, the unique properties that have made this an appealing location, I think would behoove us.
We can certainly try to do what we can without disrupting the experiment further.
And
Good.
Rash, without prompting anyone, puts a little countdown timer at the left upper side of the view screen, and you see it's at 2 minutes, or not 2 minutes, 2 hours and 40 minutes remaining. But
Dathig will just sort of look over at her.
She kind of looks back at you. Should I get rid of it? I thought it would be good to have that on
No,
screen.
it's fine. It's just
Is there something wrong with that ship over there? Is it going to blow up in 3 hours?
no. That's when their experiment is going to be complete.
Ah, okay. Negotiations under duress. I can do this. I once negotiated Big Boss Mal Capone into the Sierra River. That was a long time ago.
Ambassador, when you speak with the Romulan Ambassador Saluma, perhaps it would benefit you to avoid any historical references that only might confuse her.
Of course, of course.
Maybe she'll find them charming, sir.
Perhaps. Fives, please open hailing frequencies, and Lee is just going to actually depart the command chair and join Dathig at the science station to begin conducting that research.
So Tabo will move towards the center, standing just behind Prin and Obidus as Fives opens that channel.
All right. And again, Ambassador Saluma comes on screen and she kind of looks at you and goes, Ambassador Tabo, I believe.
You grace me, Saluma. You really do. Thank you, Ambassador. I'm here on behalf of the Federation to determine what it is you might be up to and any assistance we might be able to provide therein.
And as she kind of narrows her eyes, she says, well, ambassador to ambassador, I will tell you that this is a F1 code.
I see. Well, that kind of puts us in a little bit of a pickle. And what I mean by that is it's a dilemma of sorts. You see, our mission that we've graciously accepted on behalf of your government is to locate you and bring you back safely. And now we've done the first part, and it seems the second part of that mission may be in danger due to your F1 urgency. So that leads to the question, without engaging, is there any assistance we can lend you that doesn't completely remove this vessel from the sector?
There is a noticeable pause. It's not just me thinking. I think she finally comes back and says, I would be more than happy to go back with you to the Republic once the experiment is completed.
Would you mind sharing the results of your experiment? I happen to be on board this vessel purely because it's a scientific vessel, and we are experimenting with various kinds of new applications for our people, as well as to share certain insights with your people.
Then you would be familiar with a TPM-3.
The TPM-3. That's quality grade accessory you've got there. On behalf of my people, who just recently joined the Federation, you wouldn't happen to be employing this TPN to adversely affect any of those relations that have been established, would you?
Go ahead and Tabo roll me a presence command, difficulty of 2 here. And I know he has a focus. He has to have a focus here.
I've got intuitive, intergalactic law, and negotiation.
Yeah, definitely would apply. There's your 2. The ambassador does break once more, but it's not as severe as the last time the mask breaks. And she says, "Perhaps we can discuss this in person, Ambassador. You need not come yourself, but if you brief, say, the captain or your doctor, I would be willing to talk to them as well."
Good advice. Good advice. I would just as well extend an invitation for you to be our guest aboard the Kongo.
As gracious as your offer is, I cannot leave the experiment while it is running.
Understand. All right. We'll hail you when we're ready to beam over.
Very well. And then, without any ceremony, view screen cuts off.
Captain, Commander, I need to see you in your ready room now. And Tabo will just head that way.
And
granted, it's probably the direction Tabo thinks it is, because he's never been to the ready room on the bridge before.
Mm-hmm. So you end up walking into the laboratory and go, wait a second.
Yeah, exactly. We've established there's now a laboratory on the bridge.
As he's walking alongside Datig following the ambassador into his ready room, Lee is going to just lean over to his shoulder and say, TPM3, isn't that a family of actin-binding proteins?
That is my understanding.
Okay, so this is not some sort of terrible failure in my own diplomatic training.
I don't believe so, sir. I mean, although I'm not much of a diplomat myself.
You don't say, Doctor.
ELH, to inform my discussion here, does Tabo know the state of ratification for the Temporal Accords and the Temporal Prime Directive as pertains to the Romulan Republic's acceptance?
Right. So I would say that you're looking at maybe another couple months, but everything is proceeding smoothly, which is the good news.
And would it be acceptable to infer that as these negotiations persist, that all sides in the negotiations have agreed to forego any experimentation or intentional temporal maneuvers?
You got it.
And as soon as, or just when the doors are about to close, Tabo will look back and go, "Oh, Dr. Alel, you should come too."
Alel in here?
Sir?
Of course, Doctor, if you wish to join us and the ambassador believes it prudent, please.
All right. And she will join them.
And the ambassador is definitely busy in his head trying to figure out the right way to talk this over. And he'll look up and he'll say, "Computer, disable audio monitoring until we all leave this office. Authorization, Tabo 446 Sigma."
Theater chimes, listening devices are off.
Your assertion about the TPM was intelligent, Captain, but incorrect. The TPM is a pretty well classified piece of technology. It's a temporal past manipulator. It's designed for assistance with communicating with the past. I don't know a whole lot beyond that because it's a little above my pay grade, but she definitely intends to do something that's going to impact the past. And given that she was evasive about my abilities to be certain about those influences not affecting Sigma Iosha, you can bet that there might be some ripples that would affect the Federation. That being said, she says it's a family matter. We don't have any information on her family unless your guy at Tactical brings anything up.
And I think if you give me a momentum, Fives can like chime the door and like hold in a pad and then leave, which will have the information on it.
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to give this to Alel, actually. So Watney, there should now be a new handout available to you in Roll20. And that is, I would say, read the title of the handout, and it should hopefully, the pieces will fall into place, hopefully. And if not, just let me know.
As Lila's reading that, Tabo's gonna walk over to the replicator and ask for whiskey on ice.
Materializes, and it's the 3 fingers with 2 ice cubes particularly.
Perfect.
Ambassador, do you believe that it's prudent for you to begin imbibing alcohol, given the precarious situation in which we find ourselves?
Something gives me the impression that I'm not the only person on this ship that has a drink just before an important encounter.
I try to restrain myself to synthahol. It's a hard
I was talking about you.
Openness and honesty, Ambassador, is the basis for every diplomatic relation.
It is, Captain. If I felt this drink was going to impede my duties, I wouldn't be drinking it.
Very well.
Seems we do have some new information regarding the family matter. Saluma's partner, Saras, am I saying that right?
You are.
Saras was on the Romulan ship, the IRW Numat. Saras was the commander. It was lost with all hands when their core destabilized and led to a breach. The cause for the containment was never discerned, but it is likely that Saluma is operating under that situation when we hear family matters.
How long ago was that?
Out of character, probably about 5 years.
Well, I'm no expert on quantum chronodynamics, but Commander, would you be able to figure out how the device that she's employing here would be able to theoretically tunnel through time and space to the location of this disaster?
I can, with some calculations, potentially. Do you have any additional information about this TPM that I could use to fortify any study or hypothesis?
And go ahead.
And I just sort of sidle up to him and almost try to adopt his mannerisms for a second. And anything that you tell me will keep that between...
Oh, don't pretend you're trying to get a piece of the action. Look, computer, declassify TPM archive. Authorization Tabo 77246A 3654 Zeta.
Peter chimes, and Captain, at your desk on your little laptop or desktop, you see a hell of a lot of technical information, which, if you want to take a whack at it, would be an insight engineering, but you're probably going to have to get Dotig and probably Rash looking at this.
Now, that might be a little above your head, and if it is, feel free to bring in anybody on this that you need. Right now, the would-be temporal prime directive is at risk.
To allow that kind of, I don't know, perhaps guilt to fester over 5 years, the sensation that you had to lose someone unexpectedly and never get the chance to actually say goodbye, it's enough to drive someone mad, really. That level of obsession, protracted, frustrated at every turn. I can only imagine what she's going through.
I'm glad I brought you in on this. I can't imagine any of that.
And Lee is actually going to take a look at the information and appear as if he is attempting to examine it and extrapolate the necessary I guess, conclusions about the technology that's being employed. And then after just about a minute, as the others are going through that conversation, is going to push the computer screen away out of frustration and then slap his comm badge. Commander Rash, would you please report to my ready room?
Oh, yes, sir. Albidus, you're in charge. And at this point, it's now a party in the ready room as Rash arrives. And as she kind of steps in, oh, wait, sorry, Fives. Fives, you're the ranking officer, sorry. Still kind of, Anyway, hi, Captain, what can I do for you?
I was hoping that you could take a look at these schematics for the device that we believe the Romulans are employing to affect
Is that
this...
a TPM-3?
So I'm told.
So, funny story about that. My roommate kind of designed the first TPM. So, well, my roommate at the academy, I should qualify. So, you remember how I said that I don't really understand how the polarized hull plating works exactly? This was their polarized hull plating, if that makes any sense.
As a chief engineer of a starship for 2 years, I never encountered a technology that I had invented that I didn't understand. Is this actually common for Starfleet engineers? I know I came from the sciences.
For me, I don't write things down as much as I should, and once I go to sleep, I forget, so...
It's the copious record keeping and the meticulous, anally retentive nature that I have. That actually explains a great deal about both my comportment and my work as an engineer. Regardless, Dotig, Rash, if you could take a look at these schematics, see what you can devise from them.
All right. At this point, thanks to Evil from chat, you also did get a momentum from chat. The Kongo is going to lurch, not hard, but enough that it's noticeable even with the inertial dampeners. And the bridge will report that apparently a shockwave has hit the vessel, but no harm done.
Fives, can you elaborate on the nature of the shockwave? Is there some kind of chronometric disturbance as a result of their experiment?
We're currently conducting our investigation, sir, but preliminary reports makes it look like there's some kind of, temporal threshold that the tunneling may have passed in its attempt to fulfill its objective. Much like, a ship going to warp or an orbital vessel going to Mach.
So something analogous to a wake, a wave, or a subspace shockwave as a result of the deformation affected by the warp field or warp bubble.
You're literally reading the report as it's coming in, sir. Your intuition is spot on.
Thank you, Fives. Keep us apprised of any changes to the stellar matter or the fabric of space-time as best as possible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And I think
Doctor?
at this point... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor, I need to know about any kind of, you know how Romulans are about their privacy. I need to know how to engage one that's been under stress this long without setting off some kind of Romulan kill instinct. What can you tell me about how I might do that?
If I could interject, Ambassador, I would first refrain from referencing Romulan kill instincts as if they were some kind of animalistic species that was governed by their emotions. That would probably disincline her to listen to anything that you would have to say.
I understand. And when I use the words to talk to her, I won't use them. But right now, I need to convey a lot of information in the fewest words possible as quickly as possible. And I believe the good doctor understood what I was trying to say.
I don't envy your job, Ambassador. Quite frankly, you're full of surprises. I didn't expect the outcomes we've gotten so far from you. There are some species that can quite literally die of a broken heart. Humans are one of them. It is caused by a surge of hormones, and it's typically quite fast and painful. In regards to Romulans, I would imagine a similar sustained emotion over a long period of time could deteriorate certain endocrine systems to just be on edge. It's not something that anyone should be ashamed of, but stress causes harm on the body for long periods.
All
As
right.
to what words to use, that is your job. I can tell you, based on my interactions with the Romulan Republic, it does seem like our relationship has gotten better. So perhaps authenticity and shooting it straight, as the humans say, is
Gotta
the
tuck
best
a
course
jumper
of
off a
action.
bridge. Not my first try.
Hopefully, I did understand what you were asking.
Oh, yeah. I'm really glad there's no sudden urge to kill. But
I will
ahead,
say,
Captain.
Ambassador, as an offshoot of the Vulcan race, Romulans are possessed of a kind of steely calm veneer, an ice over magma. They are prone to emotional excesses, now, if you'll forgive me, but not ones that they show readily. Tread lightly. You could easily fall through the ice to your own immolation.
I think what the captain is trying to say is that these Romulans, they've got a really good poker face. So keep your wits about you because they've got a hair-trigger temper and they're not afraid to pop off.
You're getting better at that, Commander. But yeah, point taken. We'll get to the cheese.
Right. I might interject out of character real quick. So, as a reminder, the Saluma did say that the ambassador or one other person could come along. So do make sure you choose the one other carefully, because that may affect what happens next.
Think that's your decision,
take-
Ambassador? No, I'm busy.
You have to do all the science stuff.
As the captain, I would recommend that the doctor and the ambassador go, because does not Alel have some kind of series of nobulan talents that assist with, interpersonal relations?
And she's nice.
I
She's
guess.
trying to well, okay, fine then.
I guess she is. So, cultural flexibility,
Mm-hmm.
insight, and
Insightful
guidance. So
Mhm.
sure, she could certainly help. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's fine.
That was going to be my choice anyway.
There you go.
The captain's got a lot of work to do. The commander's got a lot of work to do. But I could use a doctor and a fresh set of eyes.
So, unless anybody else has things they want to bring up in this meeting, we're going to fast forward just a little bit here. So, we cut to the interior of a Romulan vessel, where beaming in is going to be Ambassador Tabo, as well as Dr. Alel. And waiting for you will be the ambassador herself. Now, one thing to note is that on the view screen, the ambassador, looked prim and proper, but now she looks a little bit rough around the edges, quite literally. Her garment's a little bit frayed on the parts that the screen wasn't showing. There's noticeable, prominent sort of bags under her eyes. And she kind of looks at you, Ambassador, and you, Dr. Lell, and says, "Right, we only have about 2 hours before the experiment is over. Why don't we step into this room here and we can talk things out?" And she motions a room just right to your left of where you've beamed in.
So quick question out of character.
Mhm.
Alel is now no longer shielded by the Kongo's plating and
That is correct.
shields from any chronoton effects.
That is also correct, and that also applies to Tabo.
That's why I didn't want to go.
Okay. Ambassador, you have a lovely ship.
Thank you. It took quite a bit of string pulling to get it.
Yes, it was most gracious to allow us to be in your presence today, Ambassador.
And as you sort of get shepherded into the room, once the door is closed, Saluma sort of stands near the door and goes, "All right, well, as I said, Ambassador, this is a family matter, but considering you're here, I see no reason to keep it a secret any longer. I am attempting to fix a wrong in the universe, a unjust death that was not needed or necessary."
There's no need for pretense, Ambassador. We know you're looking for the Numat.
And she kind of does that thing where she kind of tilts her head back just for a moment and goes, "Then you know who I'm going for.
We do.
Then you also understand why I'm doing it."
Yeah, with a heavy heart.
Do you know what it's like to lose someone like that?
Yeah, I do. Members of people in my past on Sigma Iosha.
What about you, Dr.
Alel, ma'am.
Dr. Alel? You ever lost someone like that?
No, I have not.
It eats away at you. Your every waking moment, you're wondering what could have been. The last things you said to them. The last time you showed affection to them. The last time you yelled at them. The last time you did anything with them. And it never gets better. There's a point where you start to either live with the pain or the pain becomes you. I think you know which it is in my case.
I read in the dossier that we had on you that the cause for the loss of containment of the Numat was never discerned. Do you know something that we don't?
Unfortunately not, but as callous and as heartless as it is, I don't care about the ship. All I want to do is save my partner and bring them here.
Ambassador, on behalf of both of our people and the negotiations that we are currently in to ratify the temporal accords, you know I have to implore you to cease this attempt.
You are correct in that matter, and that is why I'm having to do this now. 3 months from now, 4 months from now, this sort of thing won't be possible anymore. So I have to do it while, what is the human expression? Strike while the iron is hot. And then, as she says that, a complication, the ship that you're on rocks, and the lights above start to dim and flicker, and an alert begins sounding throughout the ship. And your universal translator translates the Romulan to mean, "Warning, containment has been breached. Warning, containment has been breached." And that's where we're going to go to break. So we'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, everybody. Stick around.
In that time, there might still be time to get a transporter lock and beam everybody to the future.
Yeah.
But, oh wait, we're back now.
Oh, no, we're back.
No, I deliberately came back because I want some of this to be on stream. You guys always have the best theories off stream, so...
So
Let's do it all again.
We're
Here's
still in timeout, yo.
so let me just ask one thing. If we have access to this information in universe, where did the ambassador's partnership explode?
Well, funny thing you asked that, because when you check the logs...
Is it here?
It's here.
Damn it.
All right.
Damn it.
So
oh, Lord. Are they going to be... They're crazy. They're occupying the same space in two different times, and when they bridge that gap... It's time cop rules. You can't exist in the same space.
Except we don't
The joy
know.
that you're feeling, Aaron, is just so enlivening. I appreciate it.
It's time. That's why Van Damme can't touch himself. Because
Except Romulans have phase cloaking technology, so they could exist in the same space at the same time.
Isn't that a Federation technology? Did they steal it from us
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, they stole it. They
Oh
totally.
my
of
stole it.
course
gosh,
they do.
chat.
I mean, you remember the next phase, right? Geordie and Roe.
Hi, chat.
That was a failed experiment.
So yeah, we're back a little bit early from break, but let's talk about that complication. So again, alarms are sounding. There is noticeable rocking of the ship that the ambassador Tabo and Dr. Alel are on, and Saluma is currently doing her best to communicate with the bridge to figure out what's going on. But how we're going to learn what's going on is we're going to go back to the Kongo A's bridge, where, of course, at this point, Lee, you have taken your seat, and Rash, was sort of like, again, in sort of that half-sleepy state, but when another shockwave hit the Kongo, she woke up completely, and she kind of looks at it and goes, sir, you're not going to believe this. The Protostar is actually accelerating far faster than it should. We don't have 2 hours anymore. We have at best maybe an hour, maybe even 30 minutes. Something is going horribly wrong with whatever the hell she's trying to do.
No, you go.
No, go ahead.
So, GM, at this point, would we know where the other ship was destroyed?
Yes.
Okay. Captain, I don't think that it's communicating with the past that she's after. I don't think she's planning to time travel. I think she's planning to bring people from the past to the present. Pull them through time. Consider the coordinates her ship is occupied. I've ruined the entire scene. I apologize. Where was I? Oh, yes. Consider the coordinates for her vessel. Almost exactly where the last known position of her spouse's ship was.
So she's attempted to create some kind of temporal corridor through which she can perhaps beam her spouse to her vessel?
Either that, or perhaps for an instant, if both ships are time shifted, perhaps they could intersect the same space-time aperture for a brief second or two, enough for people to pass from one to the other.
Didn't this is Rash. Rash says, didn't Voyager do something similar? I feel like Voyager did this.
They encountered a temporal spatial schism whereby I believe two officers, or an officer and a child, were able to transport from one version of the vessel to a temporally distinct version. It's a subspace
Captain?
issue. Yes?
You know what I just realized?
No, I'm not telepathic. You'd have to speak to my wife for that.
Sorry. When they were on the ship, that was all hunky-dory. They weren't, they were shielded from the whole temporal nonsense. They're not on that vessel.
Can you speculate as to the effects? Are they in danger?
And at this, she looks over at Fives. Fives, I mean, do you have a link to Alel? Can you...
What kind of temporal issues are we talking about here? Contraction, dilation?
I have
Plurality?
no idea, but we need to know what's going on over there.
All right. Captain, with your permission, I will attempt to realign my ocular matrix with Alel's. But you may want to bring a doctor from sickbay up here, just in case that doesn't go well.
And I think Rash actually just goes to where the emergency medical kit is, pops it open, and then walks over and says, all right, I'm not Alel, but I have enough medical knowledge. I can help.
And
All right.
Lee is just going to look over at Dateg and then look at himself, shrug.
Oh, right. Sorry, Captain, Commander, did you want... Sorry, I may have jumped the gun there.
Be my guest. It's been a while since I brushed up on the basics. I was only a chief medical officer for about 5 years. That's surely, Chief, you know more than I do.
Well, not to belabor the point, but I mean, I'm more concerned about his implants burning his brain out than I am anything else, which would be more of an... You know what? I'm just going to shut up and keep track of his vitals.
It's relevant. Okay, here we go.
All right, fives. Very important roll. I need you to make a... And actually, I think you're at 3 momentum from chat. So you all are going... Or fives, you're going to be rolling a daring and security. So power stat for you. This will be at a difficulty of 4. So you may wish to spend determination here.
Yeah. As Fives is recalibrating the ocular matrix to align with Allel's, he's realizing through the sensory data of his other implants that there are some pretty critical alignments that need to be made from a frequency perspective. And given the nature of his friendship with Allel and the seriousness of the issue, the potential violation of the temporal prime directive, and the undoing of the last 5 years, resistance will not be futile.
Okay, sure.
And
if you want a third die here, it would be 2 momentum.
Right, and you said the DC was
4.
Okay.
So you need 2 more.
I will spend that momentum for that third die. Someone preempted me. They knew what I was going to do. Time travel. And based on his implants, sensory information, and the ability to adapt to that, having lived with it for several months since his cortical node was enhanced, would he be able to use observation or perhaps a form of infiltration?
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Right.
Also, a tiny bit more up. You are kind of leaking into the greens.
Let's do this.
There you go.
Let's see, that's that contemplative voice we were talking about earlier. Hey!
All right, you succeed, but there's a complication. And this is funny because we talked about this, during the break. So fives, yeah, you see what Allel is seeing, but you're shifted 5 minutes into the future. So out of character, it's 5 minutes ahead. But in character, you just see Allel, and what you're seeing is that Allel and Tabo are running through a fiery corridor as Ambassador Saluma is running with a disruptor. And you can't really tell because, it's one of those things where Allel keeps looking back at the ambassador. You can't tell if they're all running from a collective problem or if the ambassador is chasing them.
Okay. Fives will sort of seize up, take a very deep breath on the bridge. They're in danger.
And Lee will slap his comm badge. Lee to transporter room 1.
Go ahead,
Do you
sir.
have a lock on the away team?
It goes in and out, sir. The chronotons are really throwing off the alignment. We can try, but there's no guarantee.
And then Lee will turn over to Rash. Rash, is there anything that you can do to clear up the transporter signal? Compensate for the chronometric interference?
She kind of looks between you and fives, Captain. I do have a theory, sir, but fives likely isn't going to like it.
Go ahead.
So he's got an active link, yeah? We don't know if it's temporally shifted or anything. We can piggyback his cortical node's frequency into the Heisenberg compensators and yoink them from whatever he's seeing. But if we do it wrong, well, I mean, you've read about the Bastet, right?
They would be removed from the timeline?
Or they would become objective, which would be arguably worse, yes.
if it's temporally shifted, we don't know which way. If it's the past, then you would be undoing the timeline. If it's the future, we would have pairs of them on the ship, one here and one there.
And thanks to the Q power from chat, another shockwave hits the ship, and this time it's a noticeable, like, lurch. Like, you guys definitely do the Star Trek shimmy, as it's known. And I think Rash kind of taps a few things on a console near her and goes, okay, remember how I said we maybe had 30 minutes? Now we have like 15 minutes.
Can fives communicate with Alel through this?
You've never tried it before, but it is something you can attempt.
Okay.
Now, what I would say is that we have to make this a visual thing. So you can't communicate any sounds, smells, or anything like that.
Right.
So what would be the image you're trying to send Alel? Also, you guys got a momentum from chat. There you go.
Thanks, chat. Fives will try to relay the current timestamp from his perspective to Alel to see if it can sync with any kind of overlay she might have.
Right. So, another very important role, but technically Rash could assist you on this. Probably going to be another daring security. Probably going to be a daring engineering from Rash. I would say that this would be a difficulty of 5. So you're probably going to want to throw threat at me for this. Or challenge of value so you get determination back. Or, because the captain is here, the captain can give you his determination.
Why not? I will pass my determination on to fives.
Very good.
I did want, before, this was an idea Fives would have had to see if he could do, and if he was going to do it, he would relay it to the captain to see if he should do it.
There you go.
Oh, Starfleet of you.
Chain of command.
Captain, I think I might be able to determine what time frame they're in. If I can overlay a timestamp from the ship's current position, Alel might be able to give me some kind of a sign that it matches hers.
And Rash like taps you excitedly on the shoulder and then points at the chronometer she put on the view screen.
Yes, that.
Would that pose any risk to you, considering the chronometric interference and its potential interaction with your implants?
Actually, the chronometric inference isn't anything I'm really worried about. Borg transwarp conduits required chronometric adjustments all the time.
Make it so.
Yes, sir. Rash?
I'm here.
All right. Just try to polarize the rear occipital back here, and we'll
The
see
rear
what we can do.
occipital? No. We need to handle the lateral.
Actually, yeah, that would work. Let's do this.
All right. So again, daring security from you. Someone could grab Rash. Rash is daring engineering. Both of you have a focus. And again, it is difficulty of 5. Also, real quick, thank you for the sub, Lord Exile. Thank you.
Yee.
I will buy a third die. With
All right,
momentum.
for 2 momentum. Mm-hmm.
Is it 2 now? Because it's after I spent my determination? Is that
Yes.
way? Oh, okay. It's not just on the determination roll.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here we go.
All right, looks like that's 4 successes, so I need to see 1 from Rash.
Who's getting Rash? Is that you, Aaron? Okay.
I guess
I
you
can't.
volunteered.
What am I rolling?
You're rolling
Timeline.
daring and engineering with a focus. 1 die.
It's no time to talk about
While they're
time.
undertaking that, I think Lee would liaise with Datek for something, but once they finish the roll, we'll talk about what's happening concurrently.
Sure. So that is going to be a success. So we'll go to your scene after Lee and Dotic have their sidebar. But Alel, you're going to get an image that shows the timer at like 20 minutes, but you know that when you left the Congo, it was still at like an hour. So infer with that what you will. But yeah, what did you? Let's go to that sidebar between Lee and Dotic real quick.
I think Lee would again join Dotic at the science console and place his hand on the back of Dotic's chair. Commander, I had a number of misadventures with another man who helped to ratify, or at least devise, the Temporal Accords by the name of Maddock. He was constantly arguing that every time we intervened with the timeline, we were actually part of a predestination paradox, that any kind of disruption of the timeline was in fact foreordained. I wonder if this time we might have encountered something akin to that. Is it possible that in the effort to save her wife, the ambassador is actually going to be responsible for some kind of disruption to the quantum singularity core of her warbird that actually takes it?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I've been running some simulations on just that hunch. Why don't you take a look at the results?
Here, I was going to assist you with running those calculations, but...
Oh, well, let's do that then.
No, Doctor, there's no need for you to humor me, please.
I'm not in character right now. Let's do a roll if we want to do a roll.
All I would say is I'm willing to give this to you guys free, but if you want to do a roll for momentum, we can certainly do so.
We may need it.
Okay.
You know.
All right, so Mr. Dotig, you're going to roll me a control science. Lee, you're going to be assisting with your own control science or control engineering.
Control science, eh?
And then Dag or Watney, if one of you wants to grab the Congo will assist with a computers in science. And the difficulty will be a 3 on this one.
Okay.
Botany.
I got it.
Okay.
Could I argue for subspace dynamics in that there is going to be a necessary subspace displacement from the...
Yeah, I'll let it happen. And looks like Dotig's already got 2. No help from the Congo, no help from Lee. So I'll let it succeed with a complication if you guys want.
What's one more complication?
That's what I like to hear.
We've got so many.
All right, so Dotig and Lee, you guys are basically seeing what you figured out during the break. You're seeing that, yeah, this is a Bootstrap Paradox. She is why the ship is blowing up, etc., etc. What you're also seeing is that when the two ships exist at the same time period with one another, the merging of the singularities will not only destroy the ships, it will also destroy the Protostar and about half this sector. Well, maybe not sector, this general area of space.
And is there anything actually of significance in this area of space? Are there inhabited planets?
I would say that there's one backwater world where you've kind of got a few people looking at some protozoa, but nobody actually, no colonies, no outposts, nothing like that.
Out of character, based on the information we've gleaned regarding the interaction between the ships, or the potential interaction when they superimpose in the timeline, is there some means to disrupt or, I guess, offset the nature of the incident such that both of the vessels actually end up here? In other words, it appears as if that vessel was destroyed in the past, but both ships appear today in our timeline without disrupting the star, so just shifting it off.
I would say you're looking at a Matic level roll, and I use Matic very deliberately. It would be possible. It would be a difficulty of 6, meaning that it would be almost quite improbable. But every time I say that, you guys roll like 10 successes. So it would be that sort of thing. But what I would tell you is that if you do attempt this kind of a thing, and Alel and Tabo are still over there, and it fails, that's going to be a huge problem. But as Dotig and Lee, giving Aaron and Lovecraft here a chance to sort of look at their stats, look at their talents, see what might help with the difficulty 6. We're going to go back to the Romulan ship, where at this point, the ambassador is, getting in contact with the bridge, and she kind of turns to the two of you, Alel and Tabo, and goes, well, we have a bit of a problem. Apparently the Hawking radiation is bleeding out, and the core is destabilizing. We need to get to the bridge or a safe area. The deck we're currently on is about to be flooded with a bunch of radiation.
We'll follow you.
All right.
We should probably let the Congo know.
So, Alel, just as you say that, that's when you get Fives' message, that visual message.
Okay, so I need some help with what she's experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets an ocular vision from
Mm-hmm.
him on the Congo of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that the time is 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they beamed over 20 minutes ago.
20 minutes
But-
remaining.
Yeah, the timer is down to 20 minutes.
Oh,
on the
it's
Congo's
counting down.
Viewer.
Mm-hmm.
And when you beamed over, you knew you had an hour, and now you only have 20 minutes.
Okay, but okay.
The time shifty stuff, it broke. We broke time. Thanks, Romulan Ambassador.
Okay, so basically her conclusion would be that they need to hurry along whatever is happening, even though... Okay.
No, it's okay. I know time travel's confusing, so...
I'm like,
No.
like caveman SpongeBob over here. Like, what's going on? Like, okay, so the ultimate outcome is that she kind of realizes that they need to hurry along, and she's like, Ambassador, if you have anything up your sleeve, we're gonna need it.
Are either of you an engineer?
I'm a doctor, not an engineer.
Well, damn it. Why aren't you an engineer, not a doctor?
Because I felt having a specialist aboard was, we trusted your crew to do their job effectively, and we didn't.
Well,
want to
apparently
interfere.
I hired idiots. And
Did
at this point,
that
you
your
can see
core
that
is
the...
destabilizing?
Yes, she confirms that. But one thing is she confirms that I'd like to throw in is at this point her hand is shaking violently. Like you can look at it and it is trembling something fierce.
Ambassador, are you okay? You look like you're not.
Yeah, I've got threat for it. So Alel,
Oh.
I need you to roll me an insight medicine. Difficulty of 0, so free momentum. If you have anything related to psychology, anything related to psychosomatic disorders, anything related to the mind in general would apply as a focus.
I don't.
Okay. Then I think you're just going to roll 2 dice straight and we'll see what happens. Hey, 3 momentum. Alel, you're not 100% sure, but you know the warning signs of somebody either having a panic attack or about to have a psychotic break.
Okay, and she brought a med kit over with her, right?
You did, yes.
Okay, so she would say, Ambassador, I think you need to sit down somewhere and calm down. I can sit with you. I can give you some medication. I've treated Romulans before.
And I think she's going to start reaching for her disruptor and goes, No, I knew I should have just told you all to leave. Your presence here has ruined anything. Maybe if I kill you now, we'll be able to, I'll be able to see her again. And she's getting noticeably deranged at this point, which you can attempt to calm her. It is something you can attempt, but it would be difficult.
As opposed to just running away.
As opposed to just running, correct.
So she would stay
Okay.
with her, and us being here is of no consequence. You are attempting to change a timeline that has been predetermined.
No, I
We are
refuse
meant
to
to be
accept
here.
it. I have to be able to save her. You don't understand. I can't go on without her.
We can try together.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
We're here to help you.
Then fix the core. Not me. The only thing that's going to fix me is her.
This is your experiment. You need to be good as well. So let's get your engineers on it, and I'll help you as much as I can.
All right. Alel. Very, 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 very important role.
Yeah.
Presence in medicine. Difficulty of 3. You have 3 momentum and your determination at the moment.
Can Tabo assist?
Yeah, Tabo can assist with a presence command.
So I'm gonna spend a momentum
All right, so you'll be rolling 3 dice.
to roll 3. This should count as emergency medicine.
In a sense, I'll give it to you, yeah.
Thank you. And I would say that I'm gonna tap
Well, remember, if you do tap a value, you will start with 2 successes, but to get that 3rd die, you would have to give me 2 momentum.
and what's the DC?
The DC is 3. So if you did spend determination, you'd only need to get 1 between you and 5s. Or you and Tabo, sorry.
Sure. So I'm tapping do no harm
Okay.
because she is trying to prevent a catastrophic event from
Makes sense to
happening.
me.
Cool. And so I'm rolling 3,
Okay.
and you're getting 2 momentum.
Well, no, you have 2 successes is what it is.
Okay, so I'm rolling 3.
Yeah, you're rolling 3. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you do want to spend the 2 momentum then.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, that is 3 successes with a complication.
Can we spend momentum
Tabo.
to reroll
Is he
those zeros?
helping me?
Tabo is helping you. So Tabo, don't roll another one.
Well, yes, but I was going to ask, can we spend a momentum to reroll those zeros?
No, the only way to re-roll those zeros is determination, and she just spent it.
Got it.
Can you challenge a value?
I would also say, just as a reminder, because I see we've got a complication in play, LL, remember that you and I have a medal called the Legion of Honor. Once per session, you can deny a complication exists simply by saying so. So you can just say it. That's not a complication.
But is that fun, Aaron?
Sure it is. Why? If you're not gonna pull the trigger, why have the gun?
Well, let's do this. Let's see Tabo. Let's see if Tabo makes it 2 complications, because then you might want to,
You have 1 job
Medal
back.
of Honor.
1
Does-
job,
does
Dag.
Tabo-
No 20. Presence
It's,
command.
It's,
Presence command.
It's one,
No
it's
20.
1d20, right?
1d20 with a focus. No
Big
20.
whammy, big whammy, big whammy.
Not a
This
20.
is also an activation for Tabo, though, right?
This is, yes.
So you could give him the advisor talent.
That is true. You could give him advisor, yeah.
Okay.
But you still have to get a success here in order to re-roll that 0.
All right.
System mastery, yay. Okay, not a 20. So I think that means, do you want to cancel that complication, or do you want to keep
would
it?
I even succeed?
You would still succeed. It would just be a complication.
I mean, complications have really, really ruined things in the past. So
Do it.
if she still succeeds, but there's a complication, then she still succeeds, but there's a complication. I just want to be clear that that's not going to not make her succeed.
No,
is
it'll
that-
make you succeed. It just will be messy in a way.
What was Chad saying? What should we do? I will get rid of the complication.
All right, complication goes poof.
Yeah.
So Alel and Tabo working together, you do soothe the ambassador, and they calm down and stop trying to go for the disruptor. However, what that is going to mean is that Fives back on the bridge of the Kongo. I love how we just make Dag change hats. I love it. Back on the bridge of the Kongo, Fives, you're seeing a new picture, and that picture is of 2 ships in the same place. And quite literally, like a rubber band snapping or Thanos snapping people away, you're seeing Tabo and Alel going poof.
Captain, there's going to be an overlay. My
And I think Rash like pulls out a cloth and like dabs at your lips where a little blood is leaking out. Hang in there, Fives. Only a little bit longer. A little bit longer. Captain, I don't presume to tell you your job, but we need to make a choice. Do we beam them out now, or do we try your... I don't even know what to call it at this, but your temporal displacement beam?
I don't know how long they have, but they're gonna die.
Then Lee is actually going to calm down transporter room and order them beamed back.
Okay. So, to give you the most chances of success here, because it is going to be a difficulty of 5, Rash is going to be doing the control engineering. The ship is sensors engineering. You have advanced sensors. Difficulty comes down to a 4. So, Rash, it's pretty much on her at this point. So who wants to handle Rash's rolling?
Got it.
Okay. Again, difficulty of 4, and someone grab Kongo's sensor engineering. But is Rash spending determination? Is she spending momentum? What's the play here?
I would determination and give him a momentum and a threat to roll 3 dice, personally.
This was a daring engineering?
Control engineering.
Okay.
And hey, you got 2 successes from the Kongo. Very nice.
Well, that's nice. Thanks, Kongo.
You're welcome.
So with everything on the line, and the urgency and the unknowing, the uncertainty of how far into the future Fives is seeing and how much time they have. She's going to tap the determination of, the red line's just a guideline, one I probably wrote.
Yeah, I think that applies very well. So technically, that means you don't have to buy additional die. You have the 4 successes you need. So you still just have to roll 2 dice and not get a complication.
And she has augmented ability daring, so you get another free success.
Well, it's control, not daring.
It's control.
Oh, it's a control engineering. Duh. Yeah.
That's why I asked. I was like, ooh, daring. Hey, can we pull a Matic here and say power systems?
No.
Been a while.
Oh.
It's an old meme, but it checks out.
No. I knew what I was doing when I gave her power system. I knew what was coming.
So is this when it's coming?
No.
No? Ugh. Well, you didn't give her anything else. What am I gonna do? Paint my way out of this?
Hey, you never know. Maybe you could. Stranger things have happened.
You know what? We're just gonna roll 2 straight then, because I
There
can't
you
use
go.
power systems.
There you go. All right, hey, you get a momentum back. So, Rash is from the bridge is going to beam Tabo and Alel straight to the Kongo bridge. However, when Tabo and Alel arrive, I actually now need to roll something. So I'm going to roll 2 challenge dice.
Is temporal shock?
Maybe. Roll 2 challenge dice. First challenge dice is for Alel. Second challenge dice is for Tabo. If I roll in effect, problems happen. All right, 2 zeros. You're good. So yeah, Alel, Tabo, you materialize on the bridge, and it's just you two, because nobody told Rash to bring the ambassador as well. So just Tabo and Alel just materializing on the bridge.
Doctor, Ambassador, are you all right?
Sir? Yeah, why did you pull us out?
Fives had contacted you using his cortical node, and there was an indication that you were imperiled.
We did experience some hostility from the ambassador. We seem to have things sort of under control, though. I think that there was some timey-wimey things going on because we ran out of time, basically, and she began to panic. I was able to calm her, but then we got pulled out.
And I think Rash at this point deliberately shuts Fives is link off because I think it's been on this entire time. So Rash sort of turns it off, so Lel and Fives, you're no longer seeing through each other's eyes. But after she does that, Rash kind of turns and says, not to alarm anyone, but that kind of looks like a 59-second countdown timer. And you're looking at the timer on the view screen. You've got a minute, if that.
Dotig,
Captain.
affect the plan.
Aye, sir.
All right,
Whoa,
Dotig.
you want to tell me what the plan is?
There's no time, Ambassador. And just to say, Lee is an argument to be able to use my advisor talent, perhaps, to assist. Lee is trying to calm down to engineering in order to orchestrate the affairs of the engineering teams as they, I'm going to imagine, modulate a phaser beam to reorient the particle stream of the chronotons that are being directed at the sun. So coordinating them by way of his, I guess, presence and engineering.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Presence engineering will apply here. So presence engineering for you, Lee. Dotig, you're daring in science or daring in engineering.
Science.
Again, difficulty on this is a 6. And you have 2 momentum to work with right now.
Okay. So I've got a couple of talents here that will be beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
So I have both testing a theory and theory into practice.
Okay.
So testing a theory will give me an additional die on this roll. And theory into practice, because we have made science rolls regarding the sort of temporal disturbances previously in this episode, will reduce the difficulty on this task for me by 1.
Yep, so difficulty of 5.
All right.
And I'd like to challenge a value as well in order to give my determination over to Dotig.
Well, Dotig hasn't used his
I have already
yet.
got my determination. So
I know, I'd like to give you another one. We'll see if you need that to reroll. But okay.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so I am going to go ahead and... so then, GM, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I wanted to buy an additional die on top of the one that I already get for
You would
free,
have to
that
give
would
me
be
3.
3. So I'll dump those 2 momentum and I'll give you a threat.
Sure. So you're rolling 4 dice, and I need to see at least 3 successes between you and Lee. All right, there's one from Lee. That is significant. So that is, by my count, 8 successes, I believe. Yeah, 8.
Jesus.
Yeah, see, I this happens every time. I say, hey, guys, it's a difficulty of 6. And you go, ha ha, I laugh in your face, GM. Ha ha.
I'm always still on the edge, though.
No, I love it. I really do. So what we see is right as the timer starts to get to like 10 seconds, Lee, you're shouting over the comms at engineering teams. Rash is shouting at engineering teams over her comms. Dotig, you're pushing buttons rapidly on the console. And right as it hits 5 seconds, you push the big orange button. And the deflector of the Kongo charges up and lances out in a beam that is not quite a phaser, not quite a tractor beam, but has properties of both. And as it slams into the Romulan ship, it shifts it out of the way right as the timer hits 0. And right before your eyes, popping into existence, is the missing and presumed destroyed Romulan vessel. Now, of course, also, the chronoton beam does shut off, which means the shockwaves, which were kind of, throwing the ship back and forth up to this point, those have ceased.
Hives will begin taking in sensor data.
Captain, perhaps we should hail them.
Commander, excellent work. It's a joy that this time everyone lives.
Wait, did they just do what I think they did?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
With a little bit of help.
Don't say don't worry about it. It's my job to worry about things. I have to report to the Federation Council about this.
The Temporal Prime Directive has been observed. By all appearances, the Warbird was in fact destroyed for mysterious reasons.
But the last 5 years have been impacted by the disappearance of this ship. Can't deny that.
And we
You
just
helped
found
write
it
the
again.
darn things.
It was as it was meant to be, Ambassador. If you have a complaint about the resolution of this situation, well, it won't be the first time I've been investigated by Temporal Affairs. For the moment, however, Fives.
Yes, sir.
That was why I paused.
Mm.
Open a hailing frequency. Both
All right.
vessels.
See open.
So, out of character, would you like the bittersweet ending, the very happy ending, or the not so great ending? Because I think, honestly, this could go one of three ways, but it's your story as much as it is mine. So which of the three endings would you like? I know it's the Mass Effect copped-out of different colors, but which would you prefer?
Challenge die.
You want challenge die?
I think
There
so.
you
That's
go.
my suggestion.
Yeah. If it's an effect,
Hmm.
what would we say? Good ending or darkest timeline?
Let's do
I
this.
was just thinking of going in
Here's-
order.
I want
Oh,
a
yeah.
commitment
Okay,
first.
that's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I want a commitment because I'm into like whole multiverse stuff. But like whatever ending we get to know what the other two could have been.
Sure, yeah.
Alright.
I don't mind telling you that.
Okay. Chat. you down with
We just reload the save state. And
Try it again.
All
right,
the
so
endings
let's-
are
We,
actually the
we
same.
can do that with the help of
that?
Chronoton.
Okay, Scooby. Let's do this
That's right.
happy ending.
All right, so here's how we'll do the challenge dice, and I'll be the one to roll it. A 0, so because there's 2 zeros on the die. If I roll a 0, that means that you're going to get the bittersweet ending.
Okay.
If I roll an effect, again, 2 of those on the die, it will be the not so great ending. If I roll a 1 or a 2, it is the ultimate happy ending.
Okay.
All right, so let's see what story the dice have to tell for us today. That's a 0, which means it's the bittersweet ending.
Hey.
All right. So the bittersweet ending is when you open communication, it's not the ambassador that answers. It is just an Uhan or, a lower-ranking officer, and they say, is this Ambassador Tabo or Captain Lee?
This is Captain Lee. What's your status? Do you need medical assistance?
No, we're fine here, sir, but I regret to report that the ambassador didn't make it. There was an explosion in engineering, and she was knocked unconscious, and, well, the only good news, sir, is that whatever the hell you people did, you brought the missing ship here, and I think the last thing she saw was her partner looming over her.
Thank you. Please express our condolences to, well, her wife.
Of course. If it's any consolation, you saved about 200 lives doing this.
If I had the choice, I probably wouldn't mind.
201.
Yes.
Your assistance has been much appreciated, Kongo. We'll be in touch. And
Kongo.
I think, because I think it's been building up to this for Rash, because again, she's been alert, like super alert this entire time. As soon as the communication comes off, you hear like a clatter as she throws the medkit to the ground and goes, "That's not fair. We won. We fixed everything. Why does she..." Captain, I'm going to relieve myself of duty before I say or do something very inappropriate.
I wouldn't hold it against you. But, Commander, before you do, we don't know each other very well, but I lost someone vitally important to me. And if the last thing that I knew before leaving this world was that he was still alive, I would go peacefully.
Let's hope she went out with a smile then. And yeah, I think Rash exits the bridge. We get the sad trumpets, and that's where the episode ends. But, as promised, on an upbeat note, you now get to know the other two endings.
What's the bad ending? Give me the
All
bad
right,
ending.
so
The super bad.
The bad ending, the worst ending you could have gotten, was going to be that when the ship arrived, like the extra ship that was blown up originally, all the people were already dead when they arrive. So the ambassador would have to have dealt with the death twice. The happy ending was, hey, everything's fine. 201, everybody lives, yay. So, yeah, I think that's just the story we got to tell tonight.
The ambassador
that
was the
ending.
victim of the random number generator.
Mm-hmm.
Bum bum bum.
Which, hey, fun fact for those who don't know, Roll20 actually uses like cosmic. I forget if it's like cosmic sort of radiation or something to affect its random number generators. So, hey, the stars ordained this. There you go.
Stars were right.
Mm-hmm. All right, but yeah, what'd you guys think? I mean, honestly, that was kind of a tonal shift at the end, but was it, was it good? I know, again, timey-wimey stuff is confusing, but
My
Her
favorite
wife must
episode
be so
yet.
confused. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I really liked
my
it.
favorite episode yet. Period.
Yeah, that was good.
It was contained in one episode. No, I love two-parters too. It's not about two-parters, but for a timey-wimey episode, it was surprisingly like linear.
mhm.
And rounded a solid emotional core, such that
Yes.
the time was really, the time travel existed to facilitate an emotional narrative,
Yes.
as opposed to being the object of the episode in and of itself.
Right.
And that's always the unique and marvelous fusion that Star Trek can achieve at its best moments.
Yeah.
And man, that was more articulate than anything that I said all night, because I am exhausted, and I'm sorry for that.
We got there as a team. It's all
Yeah,
good.
it was great.
Yeah, ELH props for the plot. Well
Yeah.
Yeah,
done.
you're welcome.
There's like peril in the right moments and like using things that characters had linked, like the eyeball stuff was awesome. And then
You thought that was going to be a throwaway gag. Nope.
I was hoping we would have some shenanigans.
Totally gonna use it some more.
Mhm.
Awesome. Great.
All right.
episode.
I'm
Well-
trying to think about like what the perspective of that incoming ship was, because her wife's up there and is like suddenly thrust into what seems to be a similar space, because that's where it just was presumed lost.
Right.
And then there's another ship there that is possibly in some kind of minor structural distress if engineering took a hit like that to kill, and now they have to be hailing that ship while that ship's talking to us and saying, yeah, the ambassador died and we gotta go.
Yeah. That was the thing. All right, well, this is where I'm going to end the recording for YouTube, but Twitch, stick around because we're going to rate somebody. But YouTube, see you later.